It is that time for my response to a tweet. And today's tweet says, Trump's VP pick will show how he builds successes and how he wins. Trump's VP pick will show how he builds successes and how he wins. Okay. Wow. When I seen this tweet, I just laughed my Black Life That Matters butt off. It was funny. And here's why it was funny, is because I'll just respond to it like this. Trump's VP pick is probably one of the most interesting things that's going to happen during this campaign. You thought you'd seen some doozies before. This VP pick thing is going to be funny. One, see, historically, the vice president, it has a tactical advantage from this standpoint. One, you look at the vice president and you pick them based on what? Their ability to be the president if something, God forsaken, something happens to the president. So you tend to look at them as their capabilities of being the president. And then from a strategy standpoint, some people pick a vice president, or it's advised to pick a vice president that can deliver you a state or a key voting block. Most likely a state, so they pick somebody from Ohio, they pick somebody from Texas, somebody that's got some kind of tactical advantage from a delegate count standpoint, or getting support from a state standpoint. But Donald Trump's vice presidential pick is going to have to be David Copperfield, Houdini. They're going to have to be a hypnotist. They're going to have to do something utterly amazing. So before you can even look at him as being the vice president or replacing the president, before you can even get there, Donald Trump's vice presidential pick has to be almost like you just watch Men in Black, where they flash the neuralizer and then they can give you a memory, where they wipe out what you thought you saw, what you've seen and stuff like this, and they gotta flash you, and they put the glass on, they flashy thing you, and then they gotta give you a memory. This is what Donald Trump's vice presidential pick has to be. He has to be a neuralizer. He's gonna have to flash you to get you to forget that Donald Trump is a bigot, a racist, a misogynist, a greedy, eminent domain, love-having, political funder of lifelong Democrats. Donald Trump's vice presidential pick is going to have to be somebody that can help cover up the fact that Donald Trump is not a Republican or a conservative. They're going to have to flashy thing you and show you that and tell you Donald Trump is a conservative. Because what you've been looking at all this time was a Democrat that found his way over to the Republican side with the help of somebody leaving the door unlocked like Rance Priebus or the RNC or this ridiculous rhinos in the Congress and the Senate. They left a door open and this man has snuck his way in. So they got a flashy thing you. That's what the vice president has to do. This guy has to get you, this guy or female, whoever he picks, has to pull off an erasing of your mind so that you can forget that Donald Trump has almost 3,500 lawsuits pending against this dude. He's going to have to show you, going to have to convince you that Donald Trump doesn't know the Constitution, doesn't care about the Constitution. This vice presidential pick, before you can even think about him being the president, has to be the cloak for Donald Trump's dagger. They have to be a suit. They have to be a fur coat. They have to be something to convince you that Donald Trump is something different than an orange peel. have to convince you that Donald Trump is not dumb as hell, that he's not retarded, that he doesn't have foot and mouth and tongue disease. They have to convince you that he'll talk about your daughters, talk about your mama. They have to convince you that Donald Trump doesn't really own that African American over there. They have to convince you that Donald Trump can really be a commander-in-chief when he's really just a demander and thief. They have to convince you that Donald Trump doesn't hire illegal aliens versus him hiring these dumbass supporters of his that think he's going to create jobs when he's never done it. He doesn't create jobs for Americans. He creates jobs for visa programs and Hispanics. They have to convince you that this man hasn't had 5 bankruptcies. Bigger than this, the vice president has to convince you that Donald Trump is not going to run our country like a corporation, like he said he can, or he will. This vice president has to convince you that Donald Trump loves Jesus. He has to flashy thing you and insert a Jesus scripture or a memory so that he can wipe out Donald Trump's 2 Corinthians. He has to flashy thing you so he can wipe out Donald Trump's Jesus died on a silly cross. And I don't like people who die on silly crosses. Donald Trump's vice president has to flashy thing you and convince you that if our soldiers are captured, Donald Trump will do everything they can to go get the captured soldiers that he told you he doesn't like. They have to flashy thing you and convince you and implant in your mind that Donald Trump's best friend is Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. They have to flashy thing you to let you know that Donald Trump is not under some kind of pedophile or some kind of child rape allegation. They have to flashy thing you so that you can forget that his wife is half naked half her life. We'll have the first lady that people will be able to look up at the magazine and say, wow, look at her tatas. Flashy thing you, vice president. Now, everybody's all gung-ho about Newt Gingrich. He can't flashy thing you. He needs you to forget. He needs somebody to flashy thing you to forget how jacked up he was. They got something in common. They both cheat on their wives and things of this nature. Mike Pence, they got a flashy thing you and forgot that, get you to forget that he was endorsing Ted Cruz. And the reason why he was endorsing Ted Cruz. See, you have to have Donald Trump be our president. Everybody has to have a continuous flashy thing. That's why I'm so glad that the delegates are wearing sunglasses, so when they do the flashy thing on the Americans and Donald Trump's ridiculous voting bloc, that they didn't forget about the Constitution. They didn't forget about their duties as delegates. I'm so glad that the delegates are wearing sunglasses so the flashy thing doesn't affect them. But what's going to happen on the 18th at the convention, while their flash Black Lives Matter racist mob and the other flash White Lives Matter Donald Trump supporter Ku Klux Klan people, while they're down there flash mobbing and the police are flash shooting, there's going to be something flashy happening in the convention floor. And it's called Donald Trump is not the nominee. Denied. And then we'll start getting you to remember how awesome a Ted Cruz was. Because right now, Donald Trump's vice presidential pick is somebody that's going to be able to do damage control. Because this dude is so damaged. And he's been spending a year damaging everything that this guy wants you to believe that he stands for. Damaging the Republican Party, or more so the opposition to liberalism. Donald Trump's sole purpose is to get Hillary Clinton elected, so most likely he'll pick Newt Gingrich so that they can go ahead and complete that too. Historically, we never had to have a vice president be able to help somebody even be able to be nominated to be some kind of president. This is freaking incredible. Hey, hope they don't flashy thing you and have you forget to look at this. But this is my response to a tweet on the Phil Williams Show.